Thank you, Ms. Chloe, as our MC tonight. Assalamualaikum. Very good evening, uh, ladies and gentlemen, for sparing your time with us tonight. I, I, I just have to say this because it's supposed to be chairman of the Sabah Society to speak first, but we swapped the suite lah. I suppose that because we are supposed to be hosting, but with their premise with us. I better stick to my prepared text, otherwise I'll be going all over. Yeah. So again, yang berbahagia, Mr. Edwin Liu, Chairman of Sabah Society. I've known this gentleman for a long, long time lah. When we were in the community services long time, about 30 years ago lah. Anyway, and of course yang berbahagia, I see many Datu here, yeah, and Datin, yeah. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Now, foremost, I like to extend a very well welcome all of you at the launching of the second book entitled Conservation and Harmony. Tabin's first book, as you know, was launched in 2008, authored by the late Wendy Hutton. Yeah. Now, this Tabin Wildlife Holidays, also known as Tabin Wildlife Resort, as it's been properly referred to, is currently operating. Those who have not been to Tabin, we are operating about 20 units of lodges since it started 20 years ago. Yeah, under the purview of Sabah Aviation. I'll just give you a bit of a background on this company. In 2007, it had to be rescued because of due to this, run into some financial difficulties. So I was at the time as a state financial authority, so I managed to rescue it and put it under Ministry of Finance, and it still with the Ministry of Finance until today. So it's become a state government. It's a GLC, government-linked company, fully fledged, from private to public. Should be the opposite. Anyway, our primary aim is to provide and maintain a safe, affordable, and comfortable enough jungle accommodation to all our nature lovers visiting Sabah. And we are mindful of the need to ensure the delicate environment and maintain a balanced nature habitat for the wildlife. All these activities are under the supervision of the Forest Department, Wildlife Department, in association with Bora. I'm very pleased to, where's Datuk it's all here, WWF, and as well as other NGOs, individual of nature enthusiasts. Of course, I'm pleased to acknowledge the presence also, Mr. Datuk John Pine again from Bora, and of course Datuk C.L. Chan, yeah, just launched his butterfly book yesterday, yeah, and of course tonight I'm also acknowledge the presence of Datuk Chong Hon Len, is the chairman of the Board of Governors of Institute Sinaran. Okay. Of course, we still rely on their respective expertise and context, which have always been helpful to us in our day-to-day management. Ladies and gentlemen, today, due to our improved performance financially, yeah, it's a very sensitive to our operation, very sensitive to security area. We are hit hard by the COVID last time. So otherwise we'll be progressing even better than this year, I suppose. So now, because we have improved our performance and also our handling of the visitors, we are ready to play the expected roles to provide additional rooms and upgrade our current facilities and to embark in the establishment of research center and other facilities in consultation with the Forestry Department. Because under the concession of 30 years, Forestry Department, we are supposed to deliver something in return, apart from just running the the resort. Now, back to the program, this evening program. The launching of this second book, I have a bit of mixed feelings here, because though we are delighted for this moment to come, I personally, I feel sad on the untimely passing of the late author of the book, the late Datuk Anthony Lam, a pleasant, very helpful, and generous gentleman who had dedicated his life in the field of agriculture and forestry in Sabah for over 60 years. I had known him, I known the late Datuk Anthony Lam since 1995 when we were working together to develop the agriculture park in Tenom. That was in 1995, way back long time ago. So I just to take this, I would like to invite all of you to join me to observe 1 minute silence in a loving memory of our dear friends. Yeah, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to congratulate the co-author of the book. Of course, just been introduced by Chloe earlier with regards to the Datin, and then also with him, also with her is Dr. William Wong. Who's been introduced earlier, is an agriculture scientist, and I'm having a pleasure to really meet him and work with him on this, and also with the daughter of the Datin Anthea Phillipps, Serena Phillipps, for having successfully completed and published the book for the circulation to the public. And hopefully it's a very readable book, and also less scientific. So hopefully it may we have good for the students to have a whole on the book. Now, of course, I will leave it to Datin Anthea and of course Dr. William to uncover the thrills and the taste of the wilderness in the context. In this context, and also the characteristic of the book later. So last but not least, I like to thank the chairman of the Sabah Society, Mr. Edwin Liu, for his and his friendly and helpful staff to allow us to use the Sabah Society office for the launching of this book, to which I'm very grateful. Again, ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you for your kind attendance and generous presence tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Datuk Yusoff. And now let us invite Edwin Liu, the President of Sabah Society, for his speech, as well as followed by the launch.
Good evenings. Yang Bahagia Datuk Yusoff Kasim, Chairman of Tabin Wildlife Holidays, Datin Anthea Phillipps, and Dr. Michael Wong and Mr. Lawrence Chin. Actually, I would like to say a big welcome home because you are all members of Sabah Societies, right? So, in fact, to me, this launch is a little bit like family affairs because we are all members of Sabah Societies, right? I mean, the four gentlemen, in fact, had and Datin also have contributed significantly for the development of Sabah Societies. Of course, we also have other guests like Datuk Sia Chan, our ex-presidents, Miss Ian Koo from Sanagan, our chair lady, Sabah Society chair lady for Sanagan branch. Yeah, and then some ladies and gentlemen, I think there are some other Datuk Chong also. Yeah. So, first of all, it truly is with great pride and profound sense of honor that I stand here before you tonight to officiate the launch of an exceptional book, Tabin, Conservation in Harmony, okay? Crafted by the esteemed late Datuk Anthony Lam, Datin, Anthea Phillipps, Serena Lam, and Dr. William Wong. The publication is not merely a book, it's also a gateway to the enchanting world of Tabin Wildlife Reserve. It offers an insightful glimpse into the diverse flora and fauna. The unique geopark and the dedicated conservation effort underway, moreover, serve as an invaluable field guide for all who visit this nature haven for Borneo wildlife. The Sabah Society had long recognized the importance of Tabin Wildlife Reserve, evidenced by our numerous successful field trips organized by our members. The excursions are not just educational, they are testament to what Tabin's rich biodiversity and remarkable ease with which one can encounter wildlife in their natural habitat. Ladies and gentlemen, actually, I would also like to call for, to take this opportunity to call for to form some form of strategic partnership between Sabah Societies and Tabin Wildlife. I think this should further enhance enhance the promotions and developments of both Tabin and Sabah Societies. Yeah? So to create some form of win-win for both parties. Right? So last but not least, I would also like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to all of you for your unwavering support. Your commitment fuels our collective endeavor to cherish and preserve the natural wonders that Sabah has been blessed with. With this, thank you very much.
Now I would like to invite Datin Anthea Phillipps for her speech.
Okay, good evening, everyone. It's lovely to see you all here. Welcome to the launch of the guide to Tabin Wildlife Sanctuary, entitled Conservation in Harmony. Tabin is a very special place. As Sabah's largest wildlife sanctuary, it is one of the best and most diverse places for wildlife watching in the whole of Borneo. In effect, it's like an island of forest surrounded by a sea of oil palm. And without the forest, of course, would be no diversity, but the oil palm plantations can play a very important role in providing security from poachers and additional food. So as well as being an introductory guide to the flora and fauna, the book also showcases ways in which Tabin, the Forestry Department, the Wildlife Department, NGOs and the commercial plantations can work together to protect the wildlife. This book is the work of very many people. First and foremost, we have to thank Datuk Yusoff Kasim, the chairman of Tabin Wildlife Holidays and his board, who encouraged us to write this book and supported us throughout all its stages. The general manager at Tabin Wildlife Holidays, Lawrence Chin, together with Linda and their team, organized all our trips to Tabin. And the manager at the resort, Ramzu, and the senior nature guide, Raphael, and their staff did everything they could to help us. We're very, very grateful to all of them. Others who generously shared their knowledge and helped in other ways were Datuk John Payne, Dr. Zainal and Brian Wong from Bora and the Sabah Ficus Germplasm Centre, Dr. Glyn Davies from WWF Malaysia, Dr. Robert Reich from the Rhino and Forest Fund, Dr. Robert Ong, Dr. Arthur Chung, Dr. John Sugao, and Dr. Joan Pereira from the Forest Research Centre Sepilok, Boris Soon from Boris Agri Services, Dr. Wong Suti from the Sun Bear Conservation Centre, Sylvia Yorath, Quentin Phillips, Dr. Peter Boyce, Dr. Joseph Koh, and Dr. Lim from Singapore, and Datin Tan Phui Lian from Chicago. We are also very grateful to the Sabah Society for allowing us to use this venue. Most of the beautiful photographs were taken by William, but others were provided by Mohammed Sum, especially he did the aerial drone photography, Boris Soon, Quentin Phillipps, Dr. Zainal, Dr. Andrew Hearn, Clement Lee, Alexander Lam, Jazli Mopuas, Joe Pan, Chavez Chima, Elisa Panjang, Jessica Haysom, Cosmo Phillips, Vivian Crosland, Wong Siu Shi, Paul Shim, Hong Bun Siu, Bob Hartley, and the Ministry of Tourism. I would be remiss if I did not also thank my co-authors, William Wong, who has been a fantastic support, and my daughter Serena Lam for all her hard work and research. But most of all, I would like to pay tribute to Tony, who, although he is no longer with us, contributed much, very, very much, and we will always remember him as the one who actually initiated the first discussions on the book. Without Tony, again, there would be no book. So thank you all very much for coming.
And next is to invite William Wong for his presentation. Yeah? So there will be a short presentation on Tabin of the book, as well as a video, right?
One short video.
Yeah, one short video for everyone to enjoy. Now, please.
Very good evening to Datin. Of course, Datuk Yusoff as chairman of Tabin Wildlife Resort, Mr. Edwin Liu, president of Sabah Society, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to give you a very short presentation of my experience and challenges in wildlife photography, particularly in Tabin. Because when we embarked on this book project, we were given a relatively short time to do it. In between, there was about 2-year break, a 1-year plus break because of COVID. So in that short time, we are not able to get all the photographs that you see in the book, which covers the subject from birds, mammals, reptiles, all the way to plants. And in this book, we have about 530 photographs compared to the first one, which is about 130 only. Okay. So my sharing tonight is just a brief on the challenges of wildlife photography. Okay. So in wildlife photography, there are a few key points here. I think we have bird guides here. They know. Having the right equipment when you do means you have cameras with telephoto lens or high-powered telephoto zoom. Good knowledge of your subject, be it birds, animals, and most important, be at the right place and the right time. Sometimes I could be sitting for a whole day and not getting anything. A lot of patience to wait if you want to do that. And of course, hope for plenty of luck to get your subject. And of course, having a good guide with you if you intend to have one. So we were very pleased and very thankful to Tabin for having Raphael here tonight as the chief guide for our trip in Tabin. Of course, keen eyesight, because sometimes you look at birds or look at animals, you just look at it, but you try to exercise your peripheral vision where a leaf, a rustle somewhere may indicate an animal, a bird there. So keen eyesight. And of course, unlike human models, animals and birds, they are as it is or where it is. So either you get it, click your photo, or the next moment it's gone. Okay, on bird photography, I will not cover the whole book. I only cover birds, mammals, and the amphibians and the reptiles. The rest will be in the book. So in Sabah, we are over 600 species of birds. Okay, but Tabin recorded about 300 species. And of course, birds, they are the largest species, more obvious like the hornbills, the eagles and the hawk eagles. And also they're the more obscure understory birds like the pitas and the partridges and the pheasants. Most of them, birds, they are daytime, but you also get nocturnal species like owls, frogmouths, and nightjars. So I'm going to show you a series of pictures, examples of what we see in Tabin. Some of those pictures may not be taken in Tabin because during our time there, there's not enough time to cover all the species that are there. So we have used pictures taken elsewhere but represent the same species. Okay, this is a hit for many photographers. This is a helmeted hornbill. We did see some, but didn't manage to get a photo. This is a photo borrowed from Chevez. So this is a hornbill, one of the 8 that you can see in Tabin. It has got a very solid cast. So this is taken by Chevez. Okay, here these are the few photos that we took. The challenge here is we were on our first trip and we were looking for rhino hornbills. Just on that morning, as we are about to leave for KK, 2 beautiful rhino hornbill came by and I managed to get the picture. Just like that, right time, right place. Okay. Then on the lower left is the oriental pied hornbill, and on the right is the wrinkled hornbill. A wrinkled hornbill is a challenge to me as well because when we saw it in the evening time, it was quite far off, and I have to use handheld, high ISO, and just to get pictures of the 2, the male and the female. The male is in the center picture. Okay, and of course, the white crown hornbill is very interesting. This is one of the more we call carnivorous of the 8 hornbill species. They do feed on lizards and stuff like that. So on the left is the male. We happen to be near the Tabin gate, and this guy just flew in and landed on the tree. Within 2 seconds, it's off. I managed to grab it. That's the challenge, the speed. Okay. The one in the middle on the top row is the female. We got it last December. Because I didn't manage to get the wrinkled hornbill. This is borrowed from Wong, which is also my schoolmate, and he's now in Taiwan, the famous guru of bird. On the lower left is the Asian black hornbill, very similar to what you saw earlier, oriental pied, but the cast, the male has got no black. Okay, and of course the very noisy one on the 2 bottom left, center and left is the bushy crested hornbill. So there you are. You have the 8 hornbills in Tabin. Now the raptors are another very obvious group of birds that you can see. In Tabin, we encountered at one morning drive more than 16, almost 20 crested serpent eagle here. This is one that, again, we're lucky shot. We're on the way back on our last trip to Tabin. It happened to be feeding on a slug eating a snake. So this is the crested serpent eagle on that. A lucky shot again, right timing. So many days, we went to so many trips, but this is the time that I managed to get it. Okay. Wallace's hawk eagle is on the top right. And of course, we have the larger raptors. And on the bottom left is the smallest raptor in the world, which is the falconet. It is endemic to Borneo. In the center picture lower is the rufous-bellied eagle, and on the extreme lower right is the changeable hawk eagle. Changeable hawk eagle has got a white morph and a dark morph, so this is somewhere in between. Okay. Again, this I say a lucky shot. They just landed there, and I got it. Okay, Blythe's hawk eagle is on this particular top left. We were also very lucky one evening together with Raphael again. He was looking for something else, and then I saw something up on the train. I said, Raphael, what is that? And he went around and said, it's a black hawk eagle, and I never got it. So it's very similar to the crested crested goshawk, but the pattern is different. So again, the crested goshawk comes quite regularly to the lodge. If you are sitting at hunter's deck, sometimes you can see the crested goshawk. On the lower left is the gray-headed fish eagle. This is actually also frequent in Tabin, but this is taken in Kinabatangan on one of my trips. And of course, the marine raptors like the Bemini kite and the white-bellied sea eagle. Yeah, you can see them quite often around here. Also, they fly into Tabin because Tabin is not too far off from the coast. They do come into Tabin. Okay, over to night photography, very challenging for the owls and the night animals. I'm talking about birds now. So the insect is the large-tailed nightjar, the one that is perching on the branch is the bar eagle owl. So they have three big owls that you want to see in Tabin. Okay, so these are the three big owls. The one, wood. This is a wood called the brown wood owl. Okay, buffyfish owl, and the bar eagle owl. These are the three big. So-called you have the big fives in Africa. So the big trees owls in Tabin that you are likely to encounter. If you encounter them, it's very, very lucky. And of course, the more elusive are the frogmouths. The center is Blythe's frogmouth, and the extreme right is Sunda frogmouth. And they're very elusive. You hear them call, but you're hardly able to see them. So again, it is a challenge to get them in picture. Okay, pitas are one of the more interesting ones. A lot of the birders all over Sabah, they go after this group of birds. This is the hooded pita. Okay, they are jewels, not jewels of the forest because they are very, very colorful and understory bird. So you have to be patient. You have to wait in a height to actually get good pictures. So again, at our time in Tabin, we are not able to do that because we are always on the move on the truck, so to speak. But these are the pictures that I took from height. Okay. This bonnet banded pita, very lovely, beautiful bird. This is the male bird. This is a migrant, very similar to our mangrove pita. This is the blue wing pita. It came around quite often to this part of the world migration. And the sad thing is, like this pita, they are attracted by lights because when they fly at night, they go for the stars. And when they see lights like high-rise condominiums like Radiant Heights, they sometimes bump into the glass, and sometimes they actually kill themselves in doing that. So it's very sad. That's the behavior of this pita, this particular migratory pita. This one is, again, a very interesting one. A lot of birders would like to see this. This giant pita. Last December, we went to Tabin trying to get the photo of this, but did not manage to get it. You hear the call, but did not come out. So very elusive. This is by Yan and Tu. Okay. Again, two more colorful. The black crown pita on the left, and the blue banded pita on the right. Again, they're very colorful birds. Very appropriately called jewel of the forest. Okay, flycatchers and fantails. Interesting birds and the story. Here, I may not be able to get pictures like this if they were not actually nesting. But nesting birds, for birders, especially as a rule, you don't disturb them. So we were actually very far off from the nesting pair, very quiet, very silent, and observed the activities. And we got a photograph of the male with the long white tail and the female feeding the two chicks. There was a legend I heard when I was working in Ulu Dusun in the younger days. My driver told me that if you drive and you come across the paradise flycatcher flying across when you drive, you see one, something bad is going to happen. Well, the photograph speaks otherwise. Okay, these are flycatchers as well. The Malaysian blue flycatcher, very common in Tabin. And the right one, angry bird, got a bit too angry, so it turned blue. So this is the blue, black-necked monarch on the right-hand side. That's a male bird. Again, sometimes easy to photograph, sometimes difficult because they are very active. And in the undergrowth, can be very dark. So I managed to get the photographs of the black-necked monarch. Okay, fantails. On the lower elevation, we get the pied and the spotted fantail. The white-throated is only at the higher elevation. So there are two species down at Tabin. These are the interesting birds. Pheasants and partridges, they're beautiful birds. This is a great Argus pheasant, more often heard than seen. So in order to photograph, you actually must have a height somewhere. You look for the dancing ground. The male will clear a dancing ground to attract a mate. So this is a way to capture photos. So to be very patient, sometimes you don't get it. Okay, this is the male. Okay. This one in Tabin, I heard from, just learned from Raphael that they are actually ground cuckoo, the Bornean ground cuckoo. This is again a very elusive bird. Very interesting that the plumage is, it shines. In different lights it shines. So this is another hit for the birders. Okay, and it's in Tabin. This is an introduced species from Semenanjung, from Peninsula, the red jungle fowl. The purpose it was introduced because when the oil palm plantation, when they grow the crop, they come into the problem of nettle caterpillar. Nettle caterpillar, I think it's the Toronitans, the scientific name. So they try to introduce this fowl as a biological control agent to feed on the nettle caterpillar. Because once you have nettle caterpillar attack on the plantation, you virtually see the palm leaves all stripped off, only the rachis left on the palms. Then you don't have photosynthesis, your yield is going to drop. So this is introduced as a biocontrol agent. Okay, another two interesting partridges here. Crested fireback. This is the one that is quite regularly. It's in Tabin. At night, it perches up the tree there. I took one in the first trip. 2 trips later, I went back. The same bird, probably the same perch. So that sometimes they do make permanent residence on certain areas of the forest. On the extreme right is the necklace partridge. Now it's renamed as Sabah partridge. It's a subspecies, probably is endemic to Sabah as well. Because of the call, the plumage, some differences, they decide that this is called Sabah partridge. World rarest stock, only about few hundred left in the world. And most of them are in Sumatra and Borneo. And this one you can see quite regularly in Tabin. It's called the storm stock. Okay. Kinabatangan, sometimes you can see, I was quite lucky to see probably a pair on the river bank there. But normally you see a single one that walks along the roadside in Tabin or on the tree. Okay. Darters. Darters is an endangered species as well, according to IUCN. But if you are able to sometimes drive along the Likas Lagoon, you can see, I've counted at least 20 at one point. They are there somehow. But this is the Lipat River. The bird doesn't float like a duck. The feather is not very well oiled because this bird dives into the water to spear the fish, and then it throws into the air, and hopefully it lands the head down into the throat. And after a few dives, the bird will have to stand on the perch, spread out the wings, and dry the feathers. Otherwise, you cannot dive again. Okay, so a challenge. Kingfishers, very elusive birds, very sensitive, but very colorful small birds. This is the common kingfisher, a migratory. Common in the sense, the name, but to me, not very often that I encounter compared to the other kingfishers. Jewel in the forest again, the rufous back, this is what I call oriental dwarf kingfisher on the top, the two, but the species that is on Borneo probably is called the rufous back. It's a subspecies. Okay, so it's got a little fish, but very colorful. If you see them in the jungle, in the forest, the little color, if you see it, then it just disappears. very sensitive. On the lower left is the rufous-collared kingfisher, also quite rare. And the biggest of the kingfishers are the stockbill on the extreme lower right hand side. Okay, again, beautiful bird. Broadbills, another group of birds, very interesting, insect feeders. Here is looking at me. This is taken at Inobong, here nearby. But you get a lot in Tabin as well. And the call is very unique. You can hear, once you hear it, you know it is a broadbill. Okay, there are a couple of broadbills that I encountered in Tabin. One of the smaller one is the green broadbill on the upper right, left-hand side. Then the lower right is the black and red. You saw the black and yellow in the previous slide. Then the other less commonly encountered ones are the dusky, very difficult to photograph, dusky broadbill, and the banded broadbill. These are those that we saw in Tabin. Okay. Now, birds are over, we come to mammal photography. Of course, there are the daytime species, also nocturnal, nighttime species. The larger mammals like elephants, wild ox, deer, and wild boar. And then there are primates and other arboreal species like the squirrels. Nocturnal species, basically wildcats, seaweeds, porcupines, tarsiers, lories, and gliders and bats. Okay. This is a good tribute to Dr. Tony. It was taken years back in Tabin with elephants in the background. So these are the largest herbivore on the island of Borneo. Okay. And they do rampage into oil palm plantation to look for food to eat. And on the right is the banteng or tempadao, difficult to photograph. This is a camera trap photographed by Dr. Zainer from Bora. Okay. On the second trip, we were very lucky to get a glimpse and photograph two of the ungulates here, which are the hoof animals. The young sambar deer and the young yellow muntjac. They're just on a trail, lucky, right time, right timing, right place, and got it. Again, mouse deer. This is the greater mouse deer. They do come around to the lodges at night, but daytime you can see them as well, but nighttime they are more out, evening they come out. So I've not seen or photographed the smaller mouse deer, but greater. And the wild boar, before the pandemic, even before the African swine flu that came in, wild boars were plenty in Tabin. After 2020, when the swine flu hit, and now we can hardly see wild boars. They are coming up, the population is coming up, but very much less. So again, these are the shots as you go along, lucky shots as well. Primates, this is a pigtail macaque. Probably is the alpha male looking at me from afar, quite far away. He's already detected that I'm an intruder. Okay. Okay. They also long-tail macaque. They do mix together. In Tabin, we see more of the pigtail macaque than the long-tail. And I don't know whether Dr. Payne can comment a little bit later. They do hybridize. You see, the one on the right has a very long tail. The one on the left, a little bit stubby, but there's still a long tail macaque. Probably it's a hybrid. We don't know. Okay. And orangutan, of course, they introduced Tabin there. And then gibbons, the North Borneo gibbons. Here you see that they don't have a tail, they move from tree to tree, they jump. So this is a mummy with a baby clung onto the belly of the mother. Okay, very lucky also to get the langur, the maroon or red langur on the left, and the silver or the gray langur on the right. Apparently, the one on the right is only found on the eastern side of Sabah. There are different subspecies. This is northern Borneo and Tabin area. Okay, very lucky to get that. Other arboreal mammals, this is the giant squirrel. See how it perches on the hind legs, balanced by the tail while it's feeding. So this is one of the habit of the giant squirrel feeding. This is at Tabin near the lodge, you can see. Okay? From the biggest to the smallest, on the left is the giant squirrel. On the right is the pygmy squirrel, the smallest of the squirrels. Then there are other arboreal mammals like the binturong or bear cat. This is a camera trap photo by Jessica doing her PhD work. And on the lower right is a previous squirrel feeding on a wild fig. This is a chance shot. Nocturnal mammals, again, because at night it's very difficult to photograph. You cannot use camera flash because it's out of range. So we have to use very high film speed, or what I call ISO, with a long lens, and of course with powerful lights. Unfortunately, we have to have powerful lights. So there is pictures here. So this is again a very chance picture, right time, right place. During the first 4 trips, we can hardly get good pictures of this Borneo leopard cat. But on the last trip, the night drive, we didn't get any. We went in the early morning drive, 4:30 a.m. And right in front, I caught a picture of this leopard cat. And in the book, it mentioned that behind the ears, there are 2 white spots that looks like an eye. So when the animal moves behind, if another, say, like a clouded leopard is trying to eat it or what, otherwise, see, it looks like there's the eyes looking back at the so-called predator. So this is, again, adaptation. I took a photo, a few seconds later, it just went off. This is a photo by Quentin Phillipps of the clouded leopard. I have not seen one in the trip to Tabin. Okay, but I was at the right place, but wrong time. Right time, but wrong timing. I was years ago went to Datin Valley. I was traveling in the van. My camera is in the back. I saw Mama and 2 cubs walking along the roadside and went into the plantation, the face foundation, the plantation. So that's where first time I saw clouded leopard. But camera was in the back, too fast. This is a picture of the marble cat by Cosmo. Again, what I call right time, right place. This is a flat-headed cat by Vivian. Again, greater mouse deer, morning drive, we call it. This is a male episode with the 2, you see the 2 fangs, canine teeth on the mouth. Okay. Very lucky to get this one. As we were out on a night drive, second trip, as we just passed near the gate of Tabin, this island palm civet went up there and looked at me and stared at me, close range. I managed to get a few good shots. This was another one. This is the Malay civet. I'm trying to photograph a lot during the last few trips, but the last trip, this fella came out and stared at me, probably stunned by the lights. Okay, and I managed to get a good picture of this Malay civet. Okay, Western tarsier on the left, and the slow loris on the right. The slow loris was the first trip. It was about 200 meters in the dark, and this was lighted up by the spotlight by the guide. So I had to push up the ISO so high that it becomes so grainy. So this is another challenge in wildlife photography. Moon rat, you see them, but the moment you try to get the focus, try to get the camera, they are away. They go in. So this is again a lucky shot. Teludu was on the right, the sting badger. Okay. Now we come to gliders and bats. These are the wrinkled lip bats. Unfortunately, this famous mangaris tree, as you come into Tabin, toppled over April last year, I think April last year. So I'm going to show a video of the hundreds of wrinkled lip bat coming out to feed in the evening. So can I have the video, please? Okay, look at the knob on the top of the tree. That's where it's coming out. See, 1, 2, slowly, one by one, they come out and like mosquitoes in the end. Fantastic looking at them, emerging for the night feeding. Oh. They're just scrambling out from the hole up there. See?
How much do you think already?
So you can imagine the amount of insects that they gather at one night and go back to the roost. So that's why in caves the guano accumulated because of the thousands of bats droppings. See, wow, it's still coming out.
Roughly how many did you count? Seriously, I thought you got 10, but it's already hundreds.
You can do a count on the video. Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Okay, we move on. Then, of course, the flying fox are the larger bats. And the other one, I can't remember what species that is. Okay, it's just roosting on the lodge, the ceiling there. The interesting that the three flying squirrels. The black flying squirrel. Then the quite common is the giant red flying squirrel. And even rarer, Thomas's flying squirrel. This one, right time, right place at Mount Hatton during dusk. Managed to get these two pictures. And that's it, it just flew off the next instant. Here you see the giant red flying squirrel. If you look at the upper left picture, it is resting. It is not really getting ready to fly. But once the tail is down, it's ready to glide. And when it glides across from one tree to another, and the lands there. And we saw this activity usually at dusk, about 5:30, 6 o'clock, this activity. But this happens at 4 o'clock. Why? Because I think there are about 4 or 6 males suitors after the female on the right. That's why the activity is there. Okay. Now we come to the reptiles and amphibians: snakes, tortoises, terrapins, and lizards, and frogs. Interesting group of animals. When we went around on the evening drive, I spotted this snake quite far away. I thought it was a cobra, but this is a killed red snake, killed K-E-L-E-D, killed red snake. Okay. And then of course pythons, we have not encountered pythons, at least on our trip. The reticulated python and the Borneo short python. And then of course the regular pit viper is on the lower left of the picture. Snakes, we did not go looking for it. But this is a very lucky encounter, the Asian giant tortoise. It is one of the most primitive of all the tortoises. And probably this is quite an old one that we saw. And according to Raphael, our guide, this is the second time he's seen it. And he has written a story for us in the book, so you can read it at your leisure. Okay. Okay, monitor lizards, water monitor lizards. The differences between this is the left is the forest monitor, or the roughneck monitor lizard. It sort of dwells more in the deeper forest compared to the water monitor lizard, which is very common around here, you see. So the way it walks is quite different. Always on 4 legs up, of course, tilted up, rather than most water monitor lizards, they actually crawl on the belly. Okay. Again, the agate lizards, this is the Borneo angle lizard. Whether it changes color, we're not so sure. There's a brown and a green version here. Frogs and toads. Our friend is hitching a ride on this white-lipped frog at Tabin. Very lucky that it's not eaten. So this is at the frog pond behind the restaurant. Very common there. Easy to see. Small frog, but very pretty. Okay. And the file-eared frog on the left, and the dark-eared tree frog is on the right. Okay. For frog photography, we use close-up lens. We use LED lights, and we adjust the color temperature of the sensor according to the light. So this is relatively easy to capture, but challenging when it rains. Look for small ones. This can be very tiny ones. So the Borneo horned toad is the one on the top right. Okay. The great river toad. Some other frogs, amphibians here in Tabin you can see. Okay. The challenge of macro photography. I'll show you pictures later in the book as well in here. We need specialized equipment and lighting. Here I use a mirrorless Olympus camera, married with a Nikon 105 macro lens. So mirrorless cameras, those of you who have mirrorless cameras, the adaptability is amazing. You buy adapters, you can use other brand lenses to fit. And of course, you have to use manual, all the settings that you know, okay? So I use a combination of Olympus and Nikon to do the series of photographs that you see. Lighting is off camera, and lots of patience to do it. So I two examples of fig walls and the harlequin tree frog. This is a harlequin tree frog. You thought it might be photographed in the wild. No, we caught this one daytime. We put it in a tub, came back in the evening after dinner with the restaurant waiters. We have to place it on a mock-up branch. Hopefully it will stay still for a couple of minutes to get a shot like this. Okay. And this is another one. I tried to get a web feed. So how to do that? I have to put it in a bottle, a glass bottle, clear, and get a picture of it. Many shots to get the correct lighting, exposure, do post-processing, and put a dark background, and there you are, the contrast is there. So this is again a challenge of wildlife photography, even into the post-processing. This is a great challenge. These are the fig walls, very tiny. I think the size is like a pinhead. This is a female with ovipositor, a long one. The male is the one at the bottom. They're tiny insects. You cut open a fig, the fruits are actually inside the fruitlets. So some are without fig walls, but some are with. The moment we cut open a fig with fig walls, very quickly the walls will fly away. So you have to do it very quickly and very fast. So they say again, the capture, the timing is critical, and the lighting. So with that, I want to thank you all for your attention, that for Tabin as well, to host us for the duration of the trip, the guides, accommodation, the food. They're just lovely people. So thank you very much.